They say a man is never truly introduced to himself until he feels the pull of his own desire and chooses to master it instead of obeying it. For most men today, that choice is rare. You scroll endlessly, consume endlessly, and release endlessly. But imagine for a second that all of that energy, that force which fuels your primal instinct to create, to conquer, to seduce, could be redirected, not suppressed, but harnessed. Because that is exactly what happens when you commit to semen retention. 7 days. Just 7 days of holding your seed can begin to change everything about the way you think, move, and perceive yourself. Before we dive deeper, if you're serious about mastering this ancient art of control and energy transmutation, join our free Telegram channel through the link in the description, where a growing brotherhood is exploring these principles together. The first few days will feel like chaos. Your mind will rebel, your body will crave release, and the modern world will tempt you every second. You'll notice how everything around you is built to hijack your sexual attention. Advertisements, social media, even simple conversations are designed to provoke desire, because a man consumed by lust is easy to manipulate. But when you withdraw that energy from the outside world and begin to cultivate it within, something remarkable happens. You start seeing the invisible strings that control society. The sexual charge that once drained you now begins to strengthen you. Around this time, if you're finding value in these insights, you can contribute through the thanks button below. No matter how small your support is, it genuinely helps us continue producing this kind of content that challenges mainstream thinking, and it helps men reclaim their inner power. By day 3 or 4, the noise in your mind begins to shift. It's as if your focus sharpens naturally. The same dopamine pathways that were once overstimulated by constant gratification start recalibrating. You begin to experience presence. You notice your posture change, your voice deepen, your eye contact strengthen. This isn't mystical. It's biological. Your body starts producing more testosterone. Your brain begins conserving neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, and your system operates from a state of vitality rather than depletion. Historically, warriors, monks, and philosophers all recognized this. The samurais practiced self-control not just in combat, but in their sexual energy. The Taoists referred to semen as jing, the very essence of life. They believed every drop wasted without purpose was a fragment of one's spirit lost to the void. Now imagine this in the modern context. You wake up after years of draining yourself through screens, fantasies, and guilt. You decide to stop. Suddenly, you begin to feel tension, frustration, even anger. But those emotions aren't your enemy. They are signals that pent-up energy is asking to be transformed. Most men mistake that discomfort for a weakness and relapse. The wise man channels it. He works out, reads, creates, leads, learns. His desire doesn't vanish. It evolves. You begin to understand that sexual energy is not just for reproduction. It is the life force behind every creative act. The same energy that can birth a child can also birth an idea, a business, a revolution. By the 5th day, something clicks in your consciousness. You start seeing patterns in how society operates. You realize that the over-sexualization of everything is not accidental. It keeps men enslaved to impulse. A man who cannot control his desire cannot control his destiny. Think about the Roman gladiators, trained to kill but forbidden to indulge in pleasure before battle. They believed their aggression and vitality depended on conserving that seed. Think about Nikola Tesla, who famously abstained from sex to channel his energy into invention. Even ancient Indian yogis spoke of brahmacharya, not as celibacy, but as mastery over sexual energy. They saw semen as divine electricity, the raw material of enlightenment. On the 6th day, you might feel a surge of confidence you can't quite explain. Your body feels alive. Your senses heightened. You walk differently. You speak differently. People respond to you differently because they subconsciously feel your energy field more centered, less needy, more radiant. This is what psychologists call sexual transmutation. Freud hinted at it when he said that civilization itself is the sublimation of sexual energy. Everything great ever created by mankind, art, music, architecture, philosophy, is born from the redirection of primal energy. When you learn to master that within yourself, You begin to access a level of power that no external validation can give you. But power always comes with responsibility. The danger here is ego. Many men, when they experience the effects of retention, start to feel superior or godlike. That is another trap of the mind. The purpose of retention is not to dominate others, but to master yourself, to cultivate clarity, compassion, and creative purpose. You start realizing that sexual energy, when purified, turns into charisma. The same magnetism that attracts women is the energy that draws success, respect, and purpose into your life. You don't chase anymore. You attract. You don't beg for validation. You embody value. Let's also look at this through the psychological lens. Every act of restraint rewires your neural pathways. When you resist instant gratification, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, focus, and willpower. The more you hold, the more your brain learns to operate from long-term vision instead of short-term pleasure. That's why after just a week of retention, many men report feeling more grounded, disciplined, and clear-headed. It's not magic, it's neuroscience. You are literally reshaping your brain to prioritize purpose over pleasure. Society, however, does not reward such mastery. The average man is encouraged to indulge, to consume, to stay distracted. The porn industry, worth billions, thrives on your lack of control. Social media platforms study your arousal responses to keep you scrolling. Even the economy benefits when you are unfulfilled and seeking dopamine hits through spending. But what happens when a man stops playing that game? He becomes dangerous. Not violent, but powerful, because he no longer needs the system to feed him energy. He generates it from within. There's a story from ancient Greece about warriors who would abstain before battle because they believed their unspent energy would make them invincible. Philosophers like Plato and Pythagoras practiced chastity to sharpen their intellect. Even modern psychology acknowledges that delayed gratification is one of the strongest predictors of success. The 7 days of semen retention are not just about holding back your seed. They're about reprogramming your entire relationship with power, pleasure, and purpose. By the 7th day, you're no longer fighting yourself. The energy that once pulled you in 1,000 directions now feels unified. You feel an inner calm, a subtle vibration in your being. Your perception shifts from lack to abundance. The same women who once distracted you now inspire you. You start to see beauty without lust, connection without possession. This is the beginning of real masculine awakening, when your desire becomes devotion. Science also supports this transformation. Research shows that abstaining for even a week can significantly raise testosterone levels, increase motivation, and enhance mood. It's not permanent, but it's powerful. The body begins to regenerate faster. The mind becomes more alert. Your dopamine baseline resets, meaning the little things in life start feeling rewarding again. That's the essence of vitality, when your energy is no longer hijacked by compulsive habits, but aligned with your will. But retention is not a finish line. It's a foundation. After 7 days, you'll face a choice. You can relapse back into the loop of pleasure and guilt, or you can move forward into mastery, learning to circulate, sublimate, and channel your energy consciously. This is where the ancient practices of breath work, meditation, and creative focus come in. The goal is not suppression, but transformation. Think of yourself as a furnace. If you don't direct the fire, it burns you. But when you give it purpose, it forges you. In a world drowning in overstimulation, retention becomes rebellion. It's the quiet revolution of men who refuse to be controlled by impulse. It's the rediscovery of sovereignty. Imagine millions of men learning to hold their seed, their attention, their will. Society would shift overnight. Relationships would deepen. Creativity would flourish. And masculinity would no longer be defined by consumption, but by creation. The power you feel after 7 days isn't a coincidence. It's nature rewarding discipline. You begin to sense that your life force isn't just physical, it's spiritual. The same essence that fuels your sexuality also fuels your connection to something higher. Call it God, consciousness, or universal energy. You realize that sex was never meant to enslave you, but to awaken you. Most men will never experience this, because they never get past the first few days. They confuse pleasure for happiness and orgasm for fulfillment. But those who endure, who sit with the discomfort, begin to taste something eternal. Their mind clears, their intuition strengthens, and their actions align with their higher self. Retention becomes not about denial, but about expansion. And the beauty of this path is that it doesn't demand perfection. You will fail, you will relapse, you will struggle. But every time you return to the practice, you grow stronger. Because every moment of awareness is a victory over unconsciousness. Every day you hold your seed, you remind your body that your will is stronger than your urges. In the end, the 7 days are just a doorway. Beyond it lies the true journey, one of balance, mastery, and awakening. You begin to see that semen retention isn't just a practice, it's a mirror. It shows you what kind of man you are when no one is watching. It reveals whether you serve your desires or your destiny. So, as you step into this challenge, understand that you're not just holding back an impulse, you're reclaiming your essence, your focus, your life force. You're turning your greatest weakness into your greatest weapon. And in doing so, you become what every man was meant to be. A vessel of creation, clarity, and conscious power. The first 7 days will test you, but they will also introduce you to a version of yourself you've never met before. The question is, are you ready to meet him?